Hey guys, welcome back. I'm David and we're here in my shop where I build Ewor guitars. And this is going to be episode 12 of Ewor Custom's Great Guitar Giveaway, where I'm going to give away this guitar right here. Isn't that cool? Check it out. I shot some tin on it the other day. I think it looks great. We're ready to start spraying clear on this thing. Anyway, if you'd like to find out how to get in that contest, it's really super easy. Just click on the link right up there and you'll find all about how to do it. And then come on back because I got some really cool stuff to show you. So in this video, we're going to be gluing the necks in these two guys. I got the purple one here and I got the other blue one hanging right over there. Those of you that are following know that I'm doing two at one time. Anyway, I come with a really cool neck gluing jig, a neck alignment jig. It holds everything real tight and nice when you're gluing it up. So I'm going to be doing that, and then I'm going through the all-important hand sanding. You can't forget about that, because that'll make or break your guitar. Anyway, stick around. I hope you like it. So, here we are. If you're watching a video I made a couple days ago, it'll probably be a couple of weeks ago now, by the time I put this video out, I talked about doing this body in red. And as is all too often like me to do, when I actually got down, I was actually pulling the colors, my trans tints, out of the box. I came across an aqua, and I thought, you know what? That might be pretty cool. So aqua it is. And you may be wondering, you know, I like to dye the tops before I glue in the neck. So doesn't that look cool? Can you see that flaming in there? I like to dye the tops before I put on the neck, because these two edges right here get right next to that neck. And of course, if you watch the process of me doing this, you know I did 3 coats of black, sanding in between each coat to highlight the flaming in here. And then I did a coat of aqua on top of that and sanded it very lightly with some 800 grit to arrive at this color. And all that sanding and stuff, there's no way to get right up tight to the side of that neck with the neck in place. So I go ahead and dye the top first. Now when I go to finish it, I'm going to mix up some more of the aqua and a little bit of black too into a base, into my clear base that I'm going to spray on top of this. I'll just spray a light coat of aqua on top. That'll kind of give a little bit of depth to the color. And I'm also going to mix up some black, and I'm going to do a very small burst around the edge. I think that really highlights the front of the guitar, gives it extra dimension and stuff. But anyway, so what I do is I dye the top, I sand it, I get it all set to go, I dye it, I get it to this stage here, and then I put on a coat of simtech sealer. And I'll just use a brush for this. It's this first coat of simtech. It's what I'm going to seal the whole body with. I'm going to use it for my grain filler and my sealer. I'll probably shoot 3 coats on this body, but before I do that, I'm just going to put a coat on this dye job on top to protect it. Okay, so I'm getting ready to glue the neck on the body, and I kind of wanted to go over this jig I just made up. You see the glue's not even dry yet on the thing. I've been wanting to do this for a while now. This is kind of an alignment jig. In the past, I would basically do my best to line everything up, throw a clamp on up here, or 2 or 3 clamps, whatever it takes, and clamp the neck into the body. I've always wanted to do something like this, and I finally came up with a way that I think is fairly simple. It just took me an hour or so to build the jig. But basically the jig is this platform. It's a piece at 3/4 MDF, right? And I went and I took 3 or 4 of my guitar bodies that I built and I drew it out on here to kind of get the general shape of, you know, the guitars I make. And then what I did is I cut these slots in here, which would allow me to bring these clamps in closer. Cut a slot there, a slot here, and then this clamp just kind of fits over the end. Okay, and then I have another slot cut in here, which is where when I'm getting ready to glue the neck down, I could slip that clamp onto that and glue and clamp it down. I could reach in underneath and clamp it down. Anyway, so this jig, I like to align, I like to get my neck, of course, aligned with the body as perfectly as I possibly can. And this jig's to help that. And I use this little laser. This is a laser. I'm a construction worker, and we use these lasers in our work. And I'm going to use that. It shoots a nice straight line, and I've got it shot from the body all the way up to the headstock. And you see I built a little platform on the end of the template to hold that up. And what I do is, and I've got these two little blocks here. They're basically just a block of MDF with a nice square line drawn on it. And what I do is I line these two lines up. It's kind of hard to see that red laser line on these darker colors on this purple. So anyway, so what I do is I draw a nice square line. I take that pen line that I drew and I put that right on the joint of the body right there. And then I do the same thing down here. Let me see if I can make sure that's in the frame here. So I line that up. So I can see now that my laser, the body is lined up really nice on the laser, okay? So I've got right down the center. I mean, I'm just showing this for showing purposes. I'll dial it in here in a minute. I'm just trying to show you how I do it. And then up here, I did these two little brackets, basically, that there's a nut on it, and I have a little piece of MDF with a 1/4-inch hole drilled in it. And I can adjust these nuts. Once the body's clamped down, I've got it aligned, and I tighten up my 3 clamps down here. It holds the body nice and straight. Then I come up here and I can adjust these bolts back and forth, and that'll just put a little tension on the neck. And I can then turn it back and forth to where I'm aligned with the center of my neck up here, which is pretty close right now. They're generally very close, but I like having that last little bit dialed in. So the next few steps I'm going to do in this segment is, one, I'm going to finish fitting this neck joint together. Now it fits and it's pretty close, it's sanded pretty close, but I still need to make it just right. So I got my little rasp here, and I got my box of sanding tools over there. Different things, just most of the sanding is going to be done by hand now. I'm going to fit the nut. Is going to go on. I've got my nut right here. I'm going to, before I finish sanding this, the neck and the back is sanded to 80. And before I move on to 120, 180, 220, and 320, I'm going to put the nut in there. I'm going to cut the nut. I'm going to curve the top. I'm not going to slot it for the strings yet, but I'm going to cut the length and glued in, cut the length and height and rounded and all that kind of stuff and glue it in. That way, as I'm sanding the rest of the neck, I'm also sanding the edges of the nut where it meets the neck, so it's a very smooth. There's no, you know, nothing sticking out or anything. It's just a really nice smooth feel, and it feels good. So I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna contour. I'm gonna do a little more contouring work. I think I'm gonna bevel this edge back and this edge, maybe bevel it back this way on the headstock. And I may even take this top and kind of round this back that way a little bit too, to kind of mimic how the end of the body is rounded over that way. So anyway, so that's what I'm going to do in the next little segment. I'm going to work through all that and show you how I do it. So let's get going.